Now I am going to explain the Coulomb's theory of earth pressure, or it may called as a Coulomb's wedge theory of earth pressure. So why we are calling as a Coulomb's wedge theory of earth pressure means here in 1776 Coulomb's has entered to determine the earth pressure, especially on the sliding wedge failure. Okay, especially on the sliding wedge failure. So what is here sliding wedge failure? So here which we are seeing, this is a small figure of the retaining wall and this is the back surface of the soil surface. Okay, back surface of the soil surface. So here in this small figure we are observing a small triangular form. Okay, a small triangular shape. The triangular shape is nothing but called as a sliding wedge. So that's why Coulomb's has determined the earth pressure especially on this sliding wedge. Okay, right. So after that, here in 1857 Rankins has determined the earth pressures. He doesn't depended on this sliding wedge. So generally he has find this earth pressures by using this. So cohesionless soils, cohesive soils and inclined surfaces. So now I am going to only explain this Coulomb's wedge theory of earth pressure. Okay, so this is the sliding wedge of failure. Okay, so here this sliding wedge, so how it will be formed? Okay, how the sliding wedge will be formed means here Coulomb's has given a small statement. Okay, here the statement. So in this statement he told that in this theory Coulomb's consider the equilibrium of sliding wedge which is formed when the movement of the retaining wall takes place. Okay, here again I am telling the equilibrium of sliding wedge. Okay, we know the sliding wedge. What is the sliding wedge? This triangle portion is called as a sliding wedge. So what is meant by here equilibrium? Equilibrium means nothing but a summation of forces. Okay, summation of forces. For example, we say summation of sigma h equals to summation of forces in horizontal direction, or summation v, that means summation of forces in vertical direction. So here also equilibrium of sliding wedge means summation of forces in this sliding wedge. Okay, so in this sliding wedge, so when those three forces are formed, at that time the movement of the retaining wall will takes place. Okay, the movement of the retaining wall will takes place. So this sliding wedge will be formed by developing of three forces. What are three forces means? I have mentioned here in bottom side. Okay, the three forces are W, R and PA. Okay, W, R and PA. What is W means? Weight of the sliding wedge or loading. And next R means resultant reaction due to developing of friction of soil. Okay, friction in soil. And next PA means nothing but a resultant pressure, or it may called as a earth pressure. So this resultant pressure which will be developed due to friction of wall and soil. Okay, with these three forces, so this sliding wedge is forming. Okay, so before going to the sliding wedge, so before going to the sliding wedge, so how this sliding wedge will be forming means, so before going to the sliding wedge, so we know the small concept on the shear strength. Okay, we have learned to know the shear strength concept. Here nothing but take a small figure here. So this is a soil mold. Okay, shear strength means nothing but a secondary consolidation. That means the excess of pore water, the excess of water and air voids. Okay, here also when a load is applying on the soil mold, so the soil will develop a small internal friction in the soil. So at that condition, so the soil decreases its shear strength and increases its tensile stresses. So at this moment the reaction R is developed. Okay, the reaction R is developed. So this is the angle of internal friction. Okay, so this is the angle of internal friction. So this is alpha. Alpha is the angle of sliding surface. Okay, this is the angle of internal friction. Alpha is the angle of sliding surface. Okay. Again I will tell here. So when a load is applying on the soil mold, so at that moment in the soil a small internal friction will be developed. So at that condition the soil loses its shear strength and increases its shear stress. At the moment the reaction R is developing at an angle phi dash. What is meant by phi dash? Means phi dash is angle of internal friction. Angle of internal friction. Okay, that's why I have pressure. That's why I have mentioned here. R means resultant reaction developed due to the friction of soil. Okay, next. So we got two forces, and next third force. Third force means PA. PA means nothing but earth pressure. So the earth pressure will be developed due to the friction of wall and soil. Wall means the back wall of the retaining wall. Okay, this is the back wall of the retaining wall, and next back face, the back filling of a soil besides the back wall. Okay, here also when the load is applying at a time only, at that time only, so at that moment the a friction will be developed in between this back wall and the soil. So at the condition, so the PA, nothing but active pressure will be developed with an angle delta. Okay, with an angle delta. Okay, so delta is angle of friction, in between soil and wall, in between soil and wall. Phi dash means angle of internal friction in soil. Okay, so this condition, the equilibrium of sliding forces. Okay, so the equilibrium means the sum of forces in sliding wedge. So in this sliding wedge, okay, in this sliding wedge, how many forces we have? Three forces, nothing but vertical direction in W, inclined upward direction RA, and next inclined outside condition PA. So these three forces are nothing but equilibrium of summation of forces. Okay, so equilibrium, these forces of this sliding wedge, when it is formed, at that moment the retaining wall movement takes place. Okay, I hope that you understood this concept. So this is the Coulomb's theory. So that's why we are calling as a Coulomb's wedge theory. So this Coulomb's also especially taken on this sliding wedge failure. Okay, now we will move for the assumptions. Okay, so these are the assumptions of Coulomb's wedge theory he has taken. In every assumption, in every different types of the assumptions, in every different types of the theories we have seen. So we see every first and common point is the soil is homogeneous, isotropic, dry or portionless, semi-infinite, and plastic condition. Why I didn't mention the elastic condition means, for elastic condition it is only applicable for at rest pressure condition. Okay, this plastic condition is applicable both for active pressure and passive pressure. Okay, active pressure and passive pressure. Okay, next second one means the back face of retaining wall, whether it may be in vertical or inclined position. Okay, so this is the retaining wall figure. No, so this line which I am mentioning, this is the back face of the retaining wall. Okay, the back face of the retaining wall, whether it may be in vertical position or inclined position. Okay, next third one, the back filling of a soil. Okay, the back filling of a soil is in horizontal or inclined surfaces. Okay, so this is the retaining wall, no, and next this is the soil surfaces. So the back filling of a soil, whether it may be in the horizontal position or inclined position. So here I is the angle slope or slope angle, angle of slope or slope angle. Okay, next fourth point. So here fourth point means, if the back wall is rough condition, what will be happen when load is applying? The friction will be develops in between the soil and the wall. Okay, when the back wall is in rough condition, at that time when the load is applying, no, so at that condition a friction will be developed in between this wall and the soil surface. So at that condition PA will be developed. PA means earth pressure will be developed. Okay, next fifth point, Fifth point is, if the back wall is in smooth condition, what will be happen? If this is back wall is in the smooth condition, what will be happen? A friction does not develop in between the wall and the soil. The friction develops only on the soil. Okay. Next, sixth point. So Coulombs has considered this sliding wedge figure is no. So this is the sliding wedge, no. This sliding wedge figure considers as a rigid body. Okay. Next, seventh point is, seventh point is, the height of a active or passive earth pressure is taken as 1/3 height of the 1/3 height of the retaining wall. Okay. Here H I am mentioning, the H means nothing but height of the retaining wall. So here here, so the active or passive voice is active or passive pressure is developing at a height of 1/3 height of the retaining wall from the base of the retaining wall. Okay. So these are the assumptions has taken from the Coulomb's theory. Okay. Next, we will move for the derivation part. Okay. Right. So for the derivation part, Coulombs has taken only on the condition of sliding wedge failure. So due to the sliding wedge figure, we have to derive the earth pressure theory. Okay, the earth pressures. Okay, so which we are seeing, this is the figure. So retaining wall in the inclined position of back face, and next H is the height of the retaining wall. Okay, so ABC is the sliding surface. ABC is a sliding wedge failure. Okay, here alpha is I am mentioning the, so here alpha is a angle of a sliding surface, and next beta is a angle of back wall, and next I means slope angle or surcharge angle. Okay. Okay, here what is happening means, when the load is applying on this soil pressure, so here two reactions are developing. What are two reactions? Here R and resultant reaction and resultant pressure. So with an angle of phi dash and with an angle of delta. So take a 90 degrees to this line normal force. So at that condition, so resultant reaction is developing with an angle phi dash. So here also the third force is, so take a 90 degrees perpendicular to this inclined back face, inclined back wall, perpendicular degrees to the inclined back wall. So at that condition, so active pressure is acting at an angle delta. Okay. Now by using three forces, we need to form a triangle form. How means, here observe here W is acting as a downward direction, vertically downward direction. So that's why I have taken here vertically downward direction. Okay, and next R is acting as a upward inclination to the W. So that's why upward inclination to the W. And next PA is remaining as a upward inclination to the W. So upward inclination to the W, and mention these angles. So here how it the beta minus delta, next to alpha minus phi dash, how it gets means simple. See here, so don't be confused. Here load is acting in vertical dimension, no? So keep here a point, so draw a straight line. So we get this angle, no? So this angle is alpha minus phi dash. This angle is alpha minus phi dash. So here also same condition. Draw a straight line, and next the angle in between PA and this straight line is beta minus delta. For this beta minus delta, we can write psi. Okay, right. So and next for this R angle we don't know. Okay, for R angle we don't know. So we need to find, means just observe here. So it is in this angle. So we know this angle beta minus delta, and this one angle is alpha minus phi dash. Okay, we need this angle. So cleanly observe here, this is in the semicircle form. Okay, nothing but 180 degrees. So for this angle we can write 180 degrees minus of alpha minus phi dash minus of beta minus delta. Okay, with this we can write now. So totally we get this equation. Okay, right. So by taking this sliding failure surface, we got this triangular three forces diagram. So after that we have to use this sine rule. Okay, we know the sine formula now, opposite by hypotenuse. Okay, for W, what is the opposite angle? Nothing but 180 degrees minus alpha minus beta plus phi dash. Okay, for angle alpha minus phi, what is the opposite force? PA. For RA, what is the opposite angle? Xi or beta minus delta. Okay, by these forces, by using this sine rule, we can find the active pressure and the W. So write this here. So PA by sine alpha minus phi dash equals to, next, W by sine 180 degrees minus alpha minus beta plus delta plus phi dash. Okay, so with this condition we can find here active pressure. So PA equals to W into sine alpha minus, so sine alpha minus phi dash by sine 180 degrees minus alpha minus alpha minus. Okay, so we get this equation. So totally this is a Roman number 1 equation. Okay, so now we need to find this W. What is W? Weight of the sliding wedge. So for weight, we know unit weight formula is weight by volume. From that we get weight equals to unit weight into volume. Okay, so here we need to find here W. So we need to find here W in equation. So we know the formula, unit weight equals to weight by volume. So for weight equals to unit weight into volume. So for volume we can write area into H. So here in soil engineering, from starting onwards, we are considering as only 2 dimensions, and the third dimension is considering as unity. So that's why here the third dimension I have kept here number 1. So unity. Okay, from that we can write W into unit weight into area. What area? Area of the sliding wedge. Okay, so now derive here. The weight equals to unit weight into, what is this? Area means area of the sliding wedge surface. So area of the sliding wedge surfaces. Okay, so here this sliding wedge surface, it is in the triangular form. So what is the area of the triangle? Half into L into H. Okay, half into L into H. Here H means nothing but the height of this sliding surface. Okay, height of the sliding surface. The height of the sliding surface is M. Next, for L we can write BG and GC. Okay, for L we can write BG plus GC. Okay, now so here for now we need to find here M, BG and GC. So we have to take here. Okay, so before this equation I will explain this figure. So what is this means? Figure means, so this is also a same figure, this is also a same figure of this one. So just I have taken for this angle. Okay, so nothing but a retaining wall. Next, ABC is the sliding surface name of the sliding surface, which is in triangular form. Here take a 90 degrees line to this sliding surface. So we get here 90 degrees, so named as a G point. So here L means nothing but we can write as a BG plus GC. Okay, so here we get alpha is the angle of sliding point. Next, beta is the angle of back wall, and next we need to get this here, we need to get this angle. So this angle how we get means, so observe here it is in the 180 degrees. So totally we get 180 degrees minus alpha plus beta. Okay, so here alpha minus I, so alpha, next minus I. So at the C point, the angle at the C point is alpha minus I. Next, here from this angle to this 90 degrees line is 90 degrees minus alpha minus I, and next here alpha plus beta, alpha plus beta minus 90 degrees. Okay, alpha minus beta plus 90 degrees, we get the formula. And next, H is the height of the retaining wall. Okay, so next we need to find here M, BG, next to GC. That means 3 equations. So we need to find these 3 equations. We have to split this triangular form in 2 splits. Okay, so 2 splits. So here in these 2 splits only, in the first split we can get here M equation and next BG equation. Okay, let us see. So from triangle ABG, from triangle ABG, so write down the angles m angles and use sin theta equals to opposite by hypotenuse, so m by ab. So directly we get the m equation equals to ab into sin 180 degrees minus of alpha plus beta. Okay, now we need to find this ab. So clearly observe here, so ab is the back inclined back wall, and next h is the height of the vertical height of the retaining wall. So draw a small figure here. Okay, so from that find out sin beta equals to opposite by hypotenuse, so h by ab. So find out ab equals to h by sin beta, then substitute ab in m equation. Directly we get the m equation, so m equals to h by sin beta into sin of 180 degrees minus of alpha plus beta. Okay, and next for second triangle, from triangle ABG, use this triangle to find BG, but use here sine rule. Okay, so take the same triangle, use sining rule, we get here BG. Okay, sine rule means in so in above topic I have explained about the sine rule, opposite by hypotenuse. In that opposite forces for opposite angles. Okay, for here BG opposite angle is sin alpha plus beta minus 90 degrees. Okay, for m opposite angle is 180 degrees, sin 180 degrees minus alpha plus beta. So directly we can find here bg equals to m into sin of alpha plus beta minus 90 degrees by sin 180 degrees minus alpha plus beta. Okay, but don't substitute here m, just keep like that as. And last third one is the AGC angle. So in that AGC angle, by using this sine rule, we can find GC easily. Okay, so this is the triangle AGC. AG is in the 90 degrees, nothing but the height of the sliding surface m, and next GC is the half of the length of the sliding surface. Okay, by using this sine rule, so GC by opposite angle to the GC is sine of 90 degrees minus alpha minus I equals to next to m by opposite angle of m is sine of alpha minus I. So directly we can find here GC equals to m into sine of 90 degrees minus of alpha minus I by sine alpha minus I. Okay, here also don't substitute here m, so keep it like that only. So totally we get 3 equations. What are those 3 equations? Equation number 1 m, equation number 2 bg, and next equation number 3 gc. So substitute these 3 equations in Roman number 2 equation. What is the Roman number 2 equation? W equation. Okay, so this is the Roman number 2 equation. So directly substitute here bg and gc. Okay, by substituting bg and gc equations in this Roman number 2 equation, we get the form here. So half into unit weight into m into, so this is the bg so this is the bg equation.